Welcome to HeroQuest fans. We are back on a Friday. Unfortunately, there's no stream tomorrow, Saturday, February 8th, but we will be back next weekend for full streams. That's the plan anyway. So check us out, twitch.tv/HeroQuest fans. We are live. If you're joining us on YouTube, we are just a replay. We're not live. But thanks for supporting us anyway. We do appreciate you. Of course, reminder that we also have a Tuesday show called the Rantcast Podcast, which is also archived on Spotify.com as well as YouTube, and of course twitch.tv/the Rantcast Podcast, where I rant weekly with my co-host, the Strange Bus, and special guests whenever we can. But thanks for joining us in HeroQuest fans. If you're new, the way this works is if you want to join us on the live stream as a hero, all you have to do is join our Discord, HeroQuest fans Discord, and join voice channel Quest Talk. That's the easiest way to control a hero. We have virtual dice. We'll show you how to do everything, even if you've never played HeroQuest before. You're most welcome. Now, if you want to interact on the Twitch chat, you can do so using your gold coins, aka channel points. Those are free, and if you subscribe, of course, we do appreciate the support. You get more. You can also follow to get more. But you can use those channel points, those gold coins, during the stream to help out the heroes by getting them potions and things. You can also help out your old pal Uncle Zargon, the evil sorcerer, and his forces of chaos with bonus monsters and things like that. So it can be a lot of fun, and we appreciate your support. So we have a call for heroes. Anyone listening to me live who wants to join, hop in, introduce yourself. We'll get you up to speed. And I see Bohemius is here. Welcome, Bohemius.
Hello.
Welcome back. So we're ready to do Against the Ogre Horde today, I take it? More Against the
Yeah.
Ogre? All right. So we're still in the arena. We're still doing this modification of the tournament mode in the main campaign. But we do have a couple of news items I wanted to discuss before, while we're waiting for other heroes to show up, if you don't mind.
Of course. Let's do it.
All right. So we kind of had this brief, not really a spat, but I mean, I was talking with my moderators about this because it's been kind of, I don't know, a sore subject with some people, but it really came to a head more recently because we did have the fact that, I'm not going to name names, but some fans released a pretty accurate scan of the mythic Venom proprietary dragon from Avalon Hill onto the internet, which, I can understand kind of the logic behind it. People were getting frustrated that it seemed like it was never going to come out. It was going to remain a scalper exclusive, and so people were just like, "Fine, we'll just 3D print it." But this guy, Pablo is his name, on Etsy and Minis 3D, Minis 3D store. He sells a lot of 3D prints. He was basically selling it. He was selling the Venom miniature in resin. And of course, I've complained about resin in general in the past. It's brittle and everything. It was like $18, I think like 15 or 16 from his main page. But it was just like, dude, that is so blatant. That's such a, I don't know, a red flag to be just selling something like that, especially when we know that Crypt of Perpetual Darkness is coming to retail. Now, some people have said, well, how do you really know it's going to be the exact same sculpt? How do you really know it's going to be this year? What if it's next year? But my point was, it's pretty well known that this thing is coming to retail and it's going to be very affordable. And it's not going to be a limited time release. So it just seemed kind of greedy to be offering this at the same time when you could just be giving out the STL for free. At least you could say, hey, that's a public service. Do you really need to upcharge people that much for resin that you're going to ship all over the world? And then the fact that you're going to attract unwanted attention to the community. So because of that whole debacle, I was like, okay, we're gonna make a decision here. We're gonna say Minis 3D banned from the Discord. Not that we were banning a person, but we were saying, hey, if somebody posts a link, we're gonna warn them, say, hey, take that down. This is promoting kind of a shady thing. We don't want that attention to our community. We can't control what people do, in private, but this is just not something we want. Well, apparently he responded pretty quickly to the criticism, and I think he came on our Discord. I haven't seen him say anything yet about it, but he took it down. Took it down from his page. I don't see it there anymore. So I don't know if he just thought people were upset and didn't want to upset them, or he realized, hey, this is going to get people in trouble, so I shouldn't do it. But for whatever reason, he took it down. I hope nobody said anything like unkind to him. I just think I was taking it as this is more self-preservation than anything. So I don't want to turn it into a rant cast, but all that said, Bohemius, what was your kind of reaction or take to the whole Venom on Minis 3D situation?
Yeah, he should not have put the dragon in the first place. I don't understand. Also because we had the news the moment he put it on, but he did right. I mean, at the end, I understood that the community was not happy.
Hmm.
Okay, he did right to the community and to himself too.
Hmm.
It's fine. I mean, keep going. Resin is not your thing. It's not my thing either. Okay, so I'm not one of his customer, but there's people that like it. The resin. I understand that it's more detailed and everything.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, but it's not for playing. It's not for playing game like Hero Quest. He has something that is too brittle to put on the table.
Yeah, it's more just for painting and display only. I mean,
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Well, in full disclosure
Mm,
for me, I think it's certainly true that I am 100% biased because I spent over $100, if I remember correctly, on his Minis 3D store back in the day, like back when he was using the
because
really brittle resin, and I regret it.
they're beautiful miniatures.
They are
So do
beautiful.
you regret the material? But they are very
Yeah,
beautiful miniatures.
I've broken
Mm.
so many of them. I feel stupid for having bought them, and I feel like I should have done more research. But it's like that's on me. So I don't want anybody to think that I was coming after him just because I was a bitter ex-customer, because he has improved the resin. And yeah, you could say, he still sells basically one-to-one copies of the old Games Workshop Hero Quest, 1989 to 1992 figures, but at least not so much for the game system ones, because those are pretty easy to find actually, even ones that aren't broken, like on eBay and
There
or
are
Etsy.
five free files everywhere for those
Yeah,
miniatures.
yeah, the free
They're
files are there too. Yep.
yes,
Uh, it's the high quality versions of the like Frozen Horror Mage of the Mirror ones from 1992 that are hard to find. Um, but yeah, I mean they do exist, and you could print them yourself. So as long as people realize that, it's kind of like I basically unbanned him from the Discord. I'm saying, hey, if people want to promote Minis 3D, it's not my thing. If you want to, go for it. I mean, there's lots of other stuff on there that's cool, but just realize there are alternatives. Like you don't have to buy from him. He's not the only
but
game in town,
it's
and
the same
mhm,
to have a Mona Lisa in your living room, right?
yeah,
It's a knockoff copy. No, you know already, but you have
right,
it
yeah,
because you appreciate the thing. How you can? I mean, you would never replace the value of an original. It's not that he's
oh
selling
no,
it as original. So I mean,
yeah, it doesn't
stuff out of production.
it doesn't hurt
I don't know.
collectors. Yeah, it doesn't hurt collectors, and you
Mhm.
could argue that even though Games Workshop and Hasbro have the legal right to cease and desist these guys, they probably
In
don't
case
care
they,
that
they
much.
start the production again, yes,
Yeah.
because those
Now with the
miniatures
new,
there are it's impossible to
yeah, with the stuff
if
that,
you don't have the original.
yeah, with the stuff that's out of print, it's kind of like, yeah, who cares? With the newer stuff, I mean, it's like, hey, this is kind of a threat to us. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's just playing with fire to just blatantly put that stuff out there. And it made a certain amount of sense. I was willing to give, and I'm sure they were willing to give much more of a pass to people when HeroQuest wasn't a retail product. Um, but I mean, my rationale for buying from him originally, and it didn't have to be him. It's just he happened to be the one that I saw who was selling it. Was, well, I have the vintage sets, that I treasure, but it's like I don't want to paint those. I have this nostalgic feeling of them as the original colors, the green orcs and the
Okay.
white undead and everything. And so I got the 3D prints thinking like, oh, these are the ones that I'll paint. But
Oh
then they
yes.
started breaking, and I was like, dang it.
Well, they
That's a separate
you
issue,
know
I guess. Go ahead. Yeah.
having a proxy, okay, because you don't want to touch because it got value.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
it's like is the same of an old book, Warhammer.
Yep.
You don't want to open it and wear it off. Okay,
Yeah.
you,
Falling
you
apart.
can PDF files. You can read that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a big value in those PDF files. Like, I, even for the modern Hero Quest, like, my desk is so small. I prefer to have the PDF like in the background on my PC when I'm doing the stream, so I can refer to it rather than flipping through the book. And some of these books, like, I mean, they've got the nice glossy pages and the hand stitched binding, but I mean, I've bent them, I've dropped them, and dinged the pages, and there's like a little tiny rip in the corner. It's like, dang it. I mean, I know a game is meant to be used and loved, so I'm not saying, oh, it has to be in mint condition. Uh, but yeah, those things are useful. They're useful. They definitely have their place. But I think it's cool that Minis 3D did respond to the criticism, whether it was out of just self-preservation for his reputation or he really thought, oh shoot, I screwed up. I better make it right. Either way, I mean, it's cool. I've no ill will against him. I just think, hey, this is a lesson to him and to other uh, sellers out there. Just be a little careful. Be a little smart about it.
Yep,
Don't
we want to
be
do it.
anti-customer. I mean, you could say, yeah, maybe it started out as a Robin Hood thing, like, oh, these corporations are screwing us over. Let's stick it to the man. But now it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
yes.
now you're sticking it
It
to the
started like
customer.
this.
Yeah.
It started like this because also you can see clearly in his page you got the Guardian Knight that is not like the just a copy of the Guardian Knight.
Yeah, it's tweaked.
It's,
It's changed. Yeah.
he's completely sculpted. It's not
Hmm.
just it's,
Hmm.
it's maybe the same pose, the same, but it's completely
Yeah.
another model.
It's inspired. It's inspired. Now,
Hmm.
eh, at what point does Hasbro have the right to say, hey, you can't put the HeroQuest logo on this. You can't market it as HeroQuest. I mean, who knows? I think up until now we've had sort of this goodwill sort of agreement. Like the way N. Carmine talked about it is like, hey, you know what? We can kind of tell a difference between people who are trying to rip us off and people who are just fans who are actually increasing the joy and celebration in the community, getting people interested in HeroQuest. We can tell the difference between a small time thing that's just some people making some stuff for their friends versus somebody who's trying to profit and actually threaten the copyrights. Now, at the same time, the Avalon Hill team, they're not the ones that are out there, filing the lawsuits and sending the C&D letters. So the people at Hasbro legal team, they may not care at all. Like, fan goodwill, screw that. You guys are in trouble. So we kind of walk a bit of a fine line, a bit of a tightrope. I mean, I think it's cool when people 3D scan stuff and put it online for free. I think it's cool when people provide a service, but I also kind of don't like it when they get greedy, especially and this has happened a few times. I haven't witnessed it firsthand, but I've heard about it happening. Is like on places like Facebook or Reddit or maybe other communities of. Somebody will say, "Oh yeah, guys, check it out. I heard a rumor that they're not going to stock the Rogue anymore," and it's like, "Oh shoot, really?" And then you turn around and you find out, oh, he's selling resculpts or he's promoting, his 3D scan of it. It's like, oh, I see what you're doing here. You're using FOMO to trick other people, and it's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, creating the rumor,
No, I mean,
false rumor. Yeah.
listen, I've been guilty of promoting false rumors before, so I know how much it sucks to have to apologize because you screwed up. But it's like, just don't be so like I didn't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, Okay, admit your mistake, move on. But yeah, don't use
Yeah, I
FOMO
understand that.
against.
Those people are using they're using it as a tool. It's not.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no guilt
it's
involved.
yeah, it's unethical. It's dishonest. I let's just try to treat each other well as fans in the community. Is what I say. So some of this stuff, I mean, the general rule on HeroQuest fans Discord is I don't no scams, please. But if people find out that a certain store like has a really bad reputation, like I want to hear about it because I don't have the time to investigate every single one of them. I don't have the money to like buy samples from every single one of these people to see, oh, are they 100% great? You know, is everything they're doing legal and above board and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of like community notes. It's like, hey, you know, minis 3D, okay, yeah, we'll allow it, but same time, hey, you know, if you see something weird, please let us know because we don't want to steer people towards scams or crappy stuff. Now, this did come up again with when we're talking about SuQuest. I know that could be a whole discussion. I know a lot of people are still really angry with Game Zone Miniatures and the 10 plus years, and the lack of refunds for certain things, and just the whole mess. So that's one where it's like, okay, not a lot of people are talking about SuQuest on our Discord, but like if I turned around and started promoting it, saying, "Oh man, SuQuest is so great, guys! Here's the link to buy it," I might be kind of a hypocrite then, right? Because people will be looking at that and saying, "Yeah, but you just made such a big deal about Minis 3D, and then now you're promoting this guy who screwed over a lot of people." I mean, there was just a court case. He was found not guilty of fraud. Not guilty of fraud. So it's like, okay, that's good, but just because you didn't commit a crime doesn't mean you didn't provide a bad customer experience. You know what I mean? So you could still be like technically a legal businessman, but you still are a really crappy company. So I get that too. So it's like, okay, well, there's going to be controversy, but again, it's like kind of that community notes kind of thing. It's like saying, okay, well, just so you know, this guy did screw over a lot of people. If you want to buy his product, fine, but just here's the reasons why I'm not buying it. And like, let it be, because I don't want people fighting one another on our Discord. You know, we've all got strong opinions on certain things. Uh, Glasgow, welcome. We've just been having a mini rant cast here. No, not really, but welcome, sir, to HeroQuest fans. Welcome back.
Hey, how you doing, guys? All right. I've been listening in. It's been enthralling.
Oh man. Now, Glasgow, I don't mean to out you here, but I did. Is that you're kind of a fan of the HasLab, and you like to collect, and I think it's because of you that I don't just blanketly condemn everybody that gets into that. I mean, you know, you like that, you go for it. I mean, it works for you, right?
Yeah. So, um, my first, my first outing into the HasLab stuff was, I'm a big Star Wars collector, so
Yeah.
I've now got. I've got all three of the vintage collection HasLabs. So the sail barge,
Oh yeah.
the Razor Crest, and the Ghost, and the Cantina's coming later this year. So I'm into that, and also of course HeroQuest 2021.
Oh yeah. So yeah, anybody in the UK area, um, call up Glasgow. His mom will make stovetop, invite you over. You can play with his toys. No, I'm just joking. I mean, unless, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
my toys take over the house. It's terrible. I need a bigger house.
So you don't have them behind glass cases. You've actually got them out.
Well, I've got my barge inside a kind of case, like a museum type thing, with a kind of setup. My the Razor Crest came with a really cool kind of stand to kind of display it, so I've got that going with that. And the Ghost hasn't got a permanent home yet. I need to figure that out. It's a little bit intimidating, so I need to try and figure out what I'm doing with that.
But see, there you can actually appreciate. You can enjoy it. If you did have somebody, a guest over, you could say, "Hey, here's my collection. Check it out." You know, as opposed to it's just sealed away in a box in a vault somewhere in your basement or in your attic. I suppose in that case, I mean, some
Yeah,
people,
that's right. Yeah, I don't see the point of having a
some,
collection that you don't see. So
I mean, I get it. There's some people that they collect things not because they actually care about the thing. They just know it's valuable. And so they have it as an investment. So it's like, oh shoot, if times are hard, I can sell this and get some money, if I need it. Of course, you could say if things are generally hard, who's going to buy it, right? But yeah, I'm more of I'm going to collect it because I think it's cool. I want to use it. I want to enjoy it. So if it's a display piece, I want to show it off. If it's a game, I want to play it. If it's a toy, well, maybe I can play with it, maybe I can't. But it's just it gets some utility than just I know I have it. But I suppose each to their own. Bunny's the same.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to kind of. I think you've got to kind of think it's cool over before you think about it's valuable or whatever. I'm a collector first and foremost. I mean, I got the Guardian Knight really late on because, well, it was so difficult to get hold of, as you know, as is well documented. So
yeah.
I ended up paying over the odds for the Guardian Knight, sort of because I'm a collector, but also just because I love HeroQuest. So, I haven't got anything just because it's rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get it because you think it's cool. Well, and I've said before, and I think you've agreed with me, is that part of the appeal of being a collector is the chase. Like if you were just a billionaire and you just bought everything, like that wouldn't be as cool as the fact that like, oh, you were looking and looking and looking and you finally found the thing, and you haggled with the guy and you got a little better price and you're like, yes, and you add that little piece to the puzzle.
Yeah,
it's like a
100%.
game. It's like a game.
Yeah. That's 100% correct. Like finding these little independent collector shops is so much better than the big retailers. Like, Forbidden Planet, you know what you're going to find. You know what's there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
or Noble Knight Games,
if you stumble across a small kind of independent collector shop, you never know what you're going to find. Some little gem somewhere. So yeah, the thrill of the chase is great. Finding something you've been looking for a long time.
Scavenger hunt. Is what we
it's
call
so
it.
much more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be fun to talk to other collectors too. Like, oh, here's what you got. Not because you're jealous, but it's like, oh shoot, you scored that. That's awesome. You can kind of compare. Because a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I feel like, hey, I'm never going to be able to afford it. So I can look at a picture of the Razor Crest and go, yeah, that's a cool looking model, and that's enough for me. NECA figures, they're garbage, but they look cool. So I mean, when I'm in the store, I'll look at it for 2 seconds and go, yeah, that's a cool looking model of a alien from the movie Aliens, but I'm not going to buy it because I know it's going to break, and it's not worth the price. So that's enough for me. But yeah, if you cross over into that collector territory and it's like, okay, these are the things that have value for me, whatever, nostalgia or just utility or whatever.
Yeah, it's really
no harm, no foul.
I think it's really important if you're a collector. It's important to be quite disciplined. I think, like I'm very kind of disciplined in the sense that, okay, so I collect HeroQuest, but that's not such a big. Okay, it's becoming a bigger space issue with space, but it's not really. It's quite easy to collect HeroQuest and have everything in one place in a cupboard or whatever. But Star Wars, you've got to be disciplined. There's just so much out there. So I've got a focus, and that's it. But I do like going into like the likes of Forbidden Planet and seeing some of the really high end collectibles like Sideshow and stuff like that, and they're really, really cool and good to look at. But I'm not going near them because I just don't have the money or the time or the space for that.
Oh yeah. Well, we've got some pretty cool hobby stores around in my area. Some of them, it's like the store itself is kind of like the nostalgia piece. Like just walking into the store and seeing just rows and rows of like 90s action figures in the packages. Like I'm not going to buy a single one of them, but just it kind of like brings you back like, oh yeah, I remember when these came out. And you kind of remember like playing with certain toys like or seeing the commercials or whatever, and it just kind of gives you that like whiff of nostalgia. And I go home, it's fine, I didn't have to spend any money at all, just the experience of those memories. And you can admire the stuff.
Nostalgia is just it's so powerful, isn't it? Nostalgia is just so powerful, and
Hell of
That's
a
the thing
drink.
with the Star Wars Vintage Collection as well. You know, you've got those really cool modern figures, but on the packaging and the style of the vintage Star Wars figures, it's just, you know, when you walk into a shop and you see them all lined up on the shelf like that,
Hmm.
hanging on their pegs, and there's a big selection, it really brings you back. So yeah, that nostalgia is so powerful, and I think that's why the line's been successful. And
Oh
then
yeah.
those kind of lines are successful because of that nostalgia.
Yeah. And then when you come out movies that are more divisive and less loved, the toys associated with them are less popular as well. Of course, if you want to collect them, that means they're cheaper, so you can go for it.
Yeah,
One thing I thought that was interesting is, you had a certain period where every toy, it seemed like, had more of a gimmick. You had battery operated, spring loaded, you had like lots of attachable parts and alternate hands and heads and all this stuff, but those toys don't last. But you think about like the old Star Wars toys, they had very little articulation, and but they survived because of that simplicity. So it's kind of funny how like they weren't as cool as toys except to look at, but then they survived. Think of all the GI Joes that broke because, like me, oh, let me see how many times I can twist this guy's body around before it breaks.
yeah,
You know. So anyway,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do endure. Yeah.
use your
Um,
imagination to
I
make the
mean,
laser sounds and all that.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
pretty cool.
I also stick to pretty much stick to the original trilogy, but I have allowed the Mandalorian, um, kind of Mandoverse as they call it. I've allowed that into the inner sanctum because it's kind of closely related to the original trilogy in some regards. So,
Yeah.
but
Well.
I've not went near the prequels or the sequels.
Oh man. On the next rant cast. Well, I want to acknowledge Jacer's here. So yeah, thanks Glasgow, thanks Bohemius. Jacer, welcome to HeroQuest fans. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Did you have any comment on the whole Minis 3D situation? You might have missed it.
No, yeah, I don't really. I mean, I listened to it on the Rantcast, and then I got a little bit of some of the stuff. I'm glad they took it down. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, it was for the best.
maybe check more of your stuff because, like I said, it's not like he creates it all. Like he licenses it or
Oh yeah.
pays to print them out for people or whatever it is. So it's more just watch who you're whose stuff you're grabbing and.
Hmm.
It could have been an honest mistake. Oh, that looks just like it. And then, like, when you're looking at it hard, you're like, that is it,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, cause to be fair, at the start, and again, this you're absolutely right. Minis 3D Pablo, most of the stuff on his site, maybe all of it, is not created by him. It's created by other people, and he does give credit. He does get permission, but I'm pretty sure he didn't get permission from Avalon Hill or Joe Manganiello to put that 3D scan on there. And yes, there were
Yeah,
two.
but like I said, and that's what I said is he probably didn't create it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And he's like, oh, I'll license that. And then, right, you find out that
Well,
you're
yeah.
licensing something that's
It,
stolen.
it could have been, yeah, it could have been the person, whoever gave it to him might have sold him a line of BS and he just didn't check. And there were two versions of it. There was just one that was a straight up scan of Venom the Dragon. And then there was one that had like a pile of skulls on the base, which actually looked pretty cool. But I mean, the mere fact of the design, I mean, we've seen the real thing tips over a lot. That's why you need Ribby's remarkable rims.
Yeah, it does.
And if it's made of resin, that thing's gonna break because it's definitely got pointy bits on it, and yeah, just the way it's designed is very poor for that type of material. Even setting aside the IP issues. But yeah, he
And
took it
with
down.
the,
He did the
it's
right
top
thing.
heavy. That's the biggest problem
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
top
It's
heavy.
real top heavy.
Yeah, and that
And it needs it does need like a 4 tile base because if you put a 2 tile base on it, it's still going to fall either forward or back or left or right. So
yeah, Ribby has a nice 3D printed base he sent me for the original that he had printed. It just the two parts snap together, and it makes it take up 4 squares, and it very easily, keeps it from falling over. And if you still want it to treat it as a one base monster, you can actually just, surround him and just put the figures on top of the lip of the base, because it's pretty flat. So good job, Ruby. Remarkable. Yeah. So there's other stores out there that do questionable things, but
If he
yeah, we
wants to
just have to keep them
modify,
honest.
it'd be nice to have maybe even a 9, like I guess 9 tile base. If you made it more of a square, so you could have the heroes just stand on the base with them, so like that they're locked in combat.
You hear that, Ruby? Yeah. Well, and to be fair to Minis 3D, he's got lots of different dragon designs on his page. So just because he takes away the copyright infringing one, I mean, the other ones are still there. So if you want a big dragon, I personally wouldn't buy it just because of the material. But if that's your thing, so be it. I mean, he's not banned from the Discord anymore. So he actually messaged me. It's funny because like I didn't reach out to him directly. And, I didn't tell people to go after him. I didn't tell people to threaten him. I wouldn't do that. But, I mean, I'd love to hear from him directly. I actually talked with Monstrous Encounters. Monstrous Encounters is probably the main guy who a lot of his designs are on Minis 3D. And he has, an agreement with him. But, I mean, it's not like they talk all the time. But, yeah, he and I talked about it. And I was just saying, like, hey, I don't hold you responsible. I'm not saying anything bad about you because you do business with them, you know. Um, and that's the thing, you don't assume people are up to no good. You don't assume bad motives. I mean, I guess I sort of implied that I thought, hey, this is pretty greedy. This is pretty stupid. But you're right. You're right. He may not have, um, Minis 3D may not have, researched it well. He may not have thought about it. I mean, it's possible he didn't want to know, but it's like now he knows.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have that aspect too. If you don't, you're ignorant of it, you kind of one of those hold harmless type thing, like,
Hmm.
and then you make right after you
Yeah.
are called out on it or you find out yourself.
Yeah.
And it might not be something that he's into. Like he might be into, 1 or 2 hobbies that are real close to this printing, and that's how it all started. So he might have
Mhm.
known something on that, when then he might not know
Yeah.
Hero Quest, or he might not know Hero Escape or whatever. Anything you could be like, oh, oh, that definitely looks Warhammer. I'm going to stay away from that because
Yeah.
I don't want to get hit right away.
He might not be as plugged in as we are, but in that business, I think it definitely pays to be to do your due diligence. And I think
Definitely be more diligent.
he's in Spain, I believe, and I know that there's a very active HeroQuest community in Spain. Of course, that doesn't mean he's necessarily up on everything. And
Right, or he might have been into the original, so he knows what all the old sculpts look like, but maybe
Yeah.
not the mythic sculpts. You know what I mean?
Right.
He might just, oh, I know what the base game looks like, or a
Yeah.
couple expansions, but he might not have realized it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it would be so tempting to get it and feel like, hey, I'm providing a service to the fans. I deserve to get compensation for this. I mean, that's a temptation. So, I mean, we're all human, right? So I'm not gonna say he's a bad guy for doing that. But I kind of was
No,
like,
well,
yeah, you should know better. You should know better. Yeah.
but a lot of companies will copy something and they change a little bit, and now it's something
Hmm.
theirs. You know what I mean?
Derivative.
Depending on what it is, you can't copy something exact and sell it.
Yeah. Well,
But
there's degrees
there's
of
a
that.
lot of people that come real close. You know what I mean? Or
There's
they're
degrees.
floating on the line, waiting for
Oh yeah.
either a lawyer or something to say, "Hey, stop it."
Yeah. It's like, okay, my bad. I'm taking it down. Well, and there's degrees of it too. I want to use another extreme example. So there was this guy, I don't even remember his handle, and I don't even care to recall it, but there was somebody on eBay, and this guy was like popular, and he was selling decks of HeroQuest cards, custom cards. This was several years ago. And if you looked at the designs, you could see clearly like he had just copied stuff straight from the old in, yield in. So there was like Shang's work was on there, Ethica's work was on there, like all these artists, which I'm sure he didn't ask a single one of them for, hey, can I just copy your stuff? And yeah, he had the official cards too. And yeah, he had changed very, very small things. So just imagine like a picture of, I don't know, just take an example. This isn't one, but let's say a picture of the bracers. So he'd have the picture of the bracers on the card, but then he would just like, it looked like he took Photoshop and he put just like a filter with just like a little splotch of purple in the corner. Like there's just a little purple cast, and it's like that's it. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. And he
Right.
was
Like,
selling it.
and you got other people that'll just change the font.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like they typed it up themselves.
And it's like,
You know, but
okay,
they're still stealing the artwork.
yeah, you're still profiting off of somebody else's work without giving them anything, and not even acknowledging where you got it. And yeah, you're making it look like or pretending that you actually transformed it into something else.
Well, it'd be like the Venom with the, we put skulls around the base. Now it's not Venom anymore.
Yeah.
Even though Venom's still the same, it's just that the pedestal or the base of the pedestal is different.
And
or if you did the same thing and you made it and you put the skulls out and made a bigger base, like a 40 mil or something, or a 50 mil base, but you packed it out with skulls or something to make it look like the pillar was surrounded by his victims.
Yeah, at a certain point, yeah, if you change it enough, it becomes something new, and then it's a little more understandable. But I mean, with Minis 3D, like he actually, and I don't mean to dunk on him now, but it's like he actually put on the page. It's like Mythic Venom Dragon. This is a replica of the original. Like it was no beating around the bush. Like that's what this is.
Right. So you either didn't read it when you're typing, even if you just sometimes you take the whole file and you just import it. Well, that's what I used to do on larger sales sites. You just import a whole thing and it uploads either the descriptions or the pricing or whatever changes about it.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was the sizes because everything got smaller. It's not a 28-ounce bottle now; it's a 26-ounce bottle. Yeah. It's like so they spent $1 million to retool to make a smaller bottle to eventually recoup their money again.
Bohemius, you were going to say something. Sorry.
I believe it was just if you follow all the Spanish problems, okay, if you follow Cristobal, they discuss a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it was just a provocation made in purpose. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The Spanish fans have put up with a lot, so yeah. I can understand.
I understand the part. Is a way, but you listen this way, people instantly Hasbro the day after, or the same day, I don't remember now. Mm-hmm. He responds with a leak.
Yeah.
Of the information about.
And that to me says somebody knew, somebody in the company was like, oh crap, we got to head this off. Let's at least send out the flare saying, hey, don't worry, it's really coming out. Stop, please. Don't hurt us. Because they could have just kept silent until release day in December or whenever it's going to happen, And by then, how many of these would get sold? And I feel so bad for the Spanish fans. And I feel like the thing is, if there was a plan within Hasbro to like change for the better and say, oh yes, you guys will get restocks. Oh yes, you guys will get PDFs for the HeroQuest products. The Avalon Hill guys can't say anything about it. Like they're not allowed to talk about it. So we have to rely on leaks. It could be 18 months from the time of the complaint to the thing actually happening. And I don't have proof that that's going to happen, but I have a strong hope that when First Light comes out, that's going to start changing some things. Like they're going to realize, like Hasbro in the US is going to realize, oh shoot, maybe we were wrong to limit Spain so much. Maybe there is a big market for Spanish language HeroQuest products. Maybe we should allocate some more money because we could get more money. Not that, because they're kind of like in cost saving mode. Like, okay, how can we save cost? How can we get stuff on the cheap? We got all these supply chain issues to worry about. It's like, yeah, but there's all these untapped markets, that they could get. Yes, people like our friend Glasgow like the collector stuff, but it's like you've turned the Spanish HeroQuest market into the collector market. Now it's driven by FOMO and scalping. And yes, you've got fans who are kind of like the Robin Hood fans who are basically just breaking the copyright, stealing the stuff, copying it, and some of them are doing it ethically, I guess, translating the stuff for free, putting the STLs out for free. But then you've got other people who are skimming off the top, getting their cut, selling it, and that's money that Hasbro could have gotten. They could have gotten that.
Well, that's like I bought, I think eBay. I bought 3 of the ogres because that's all he had was 3. So I bought all 3 ogres. So that's why I only have 3 old ogres.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, all right, because they were from the ogre horde,
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, cool. So I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I got a notice that that he was restocked. But when I looked at them, it looked like they were, I guess, recasts. They like the faces were like melty looking, and I was trying to figure it out because it didn't look like a 3D print. So I think he had bought them. Tried to cast them. Maybe he did because he had them in different poses.
Oh,
So I don't think he cast all the pieces and snapped them together like the original ones. So I think he just cast them in different poses, and then a year later, he had them was producing them, and they were on there, and I was like, they look so close. I was like, and I'm looking at, I was like, there's something wrong with them, and I'm looking and looking. I'm like, I think they're recast, and I was like, all right, remove that from the cart. I'm not buying it.
Yeah,
because I wanted the 4th one. That's all I was looking for was one more. And what put me on the fence was shipping. I didn't because I paid the shipping. I had 3 of them. It wasn't too bad to combine it all. But to buy one, it was like $8 in shipping. I was like, that's a lot of money to pay for it. And then I'm looking at it, and the more I'm looking at the pictures, I'm like, that's not. It's the same seller, but it's not the same model.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'll make a confession here. I mean, I'm not saying I'm pure in this area. Like, I bought bootlegs of stuff, but at the same time, like, I'm sort of the mind, you can't buy this anywhere, and the stuff that does exist is so scalped. It's so marked up. There's no way I can afford it. And the original company is not going to get the money. The original artists aren't going to get the money from the sale. But in cases where that thing has actually come out for real, like has been re-released, I'm like, you know what? I need to support this. So I buy it again, even though I've already got the bootleg, and I could be satisfied with that, So, or the knockoff or whatever it is.
Yeah, Jason, if you want some proxies, I can help you with that.
Oh man.
Well, I had went and bought an incomplete Battle Master thing to fill in the parts that I was missing, and to get another ogre. So I had like a big ogre and 3 little ogres.
Listen.
Plus, I had 4 ogres out of Dark World. So I did have a nice squad of ogres.
Jacer.
But the same thing. I had to print out the ogre horde because I couldn't afford to buy it. But that was just to try to play the original.
Jacer.
The way it was.
I'm sorry, I'm dying to interrupt you. I feel like it's so nice to hear you say that kind of stuff, because to me, like, you're the guy that, like, you open the Battle Masters box and it's incomplete. You just get out the popsicle sticks and the stuff from the junk drawer, and you just start like making like the pieces that are missing. It's like there.
Like you'll do it yourself. I did make like 3D towers, and I took like the little army guy bunkers or whatever to make the fortifications. I also made some out of made the little fortifications rather than using the tiles.
That's so awesome. Yeah. If we were neighbors, I'd be coming over every weekend saying like, hey, let's.
Me too.
I've got some junk. What can you do with this? Let's work on this. Yeah. Well, I remember seeing videos, people going to dollar stores and making stuff, or the sprues that are left over after you build a Warhammer figure. Like, you can cut those up and use them as like terrain and stuff. You can turn it into other things. It's like,
especially orc terrain. That's the best. Just glue it together and it's orc built or goblin built.
Yep. Just makeshift junk. It's great. Well, guys, maybe we should play some Hero Quest on Hero Quest Fans. What do you say? Good discussion, though.
Yeah, just to very little. The sprue that you said, looking at back in time, was also in the rule of Games Workshop. Everything built with the sprue was accepted as a Games Workshop built because you're using Games Workshop plastic.
That is true. It. The letter of the law. Absolutely. Yep. This was carved from the remnants of the Games Workshop thing, so it's legit. Ribby's here. Great. Okay, guys.
Can I?
Oh, okay.
Can I throw something in to the discussion? Sorry.
Yeah.
So, as you know, the first light has just been arriving in the UK, so I
Yeah.
got mine on Wednesday.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if this has already been theorized and I've maybe missed it on the Discord or something, but you know how that little token we've got, it also was in the base game, as the 2021 game as well. You know, the kind of, I don't know, Zargon token or something. It's got the
Yeah.
eye on one side and it's got the kind of, you know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah. The mystery tile. Yep.
The mystery tile, yeah, the kind of evil mystery tile thing.
Hmm.
Is it possible? I'm just looking at the dragon miniature. Is it possible the dragon miniature took inspiration from that?
The first light dragon, you mean?
Yeah, like if you look at the first light dragon's face, kind of head on, somehow there's a similarity.
I'm not sure about that. I guess I'll have to. Well, I mean, I guess you could
Should do.
imagine it with a pointed nose and the kind of the eyes at
Yeah,
an angle.
the kind of pointed up, kind of nose thing somehow made me think of that.
I always thought it kind of looked like a jack o'
Anyway,
lantern.
just something I was musing over as I was looking at my first light box.
Interesting theory. I mean, there's lots of Easter eggs and stuff that we wonder about. See, we used to. I was reminiscing with Shem about how HeroQuest fans used to be. It used to be we had, and this was when we were still building our audience. You know, we had barely begun the Twitch thing, and it was like we had HeroQuest talk was the first thing, and so I would just talk nonstop about whatever in the world of HeroQuest, and then the other one was the game stream where we would play Frozen Horror, and we were getting our bearings and everything. But yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I would wonder about, and people would comment on. Whoops. It's like the lens cap came off. Okay, so here's our board. But yeah, here's what he's talking about. Here's the mystery tile. So you're thinking that kind of makes you think of the dragon head.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was a big fan of the HeroQuest talk.
Yeah, and I guess what ended up happening is it's gone to the Rantcast. Like we have the HeroQuest Power Hour. We always have at least an hour, sometimes more, where I talk about.
Yeah, which is kind of like the replacement of the HeroQuest talk. The
Yeah.
first hour, and then it's like then you get the extra.
Of course, you're talking about the first light dragon. I don't have the first light dragon here with me. It's out of reach, but I mean, there's some similarities. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Well, it's kind of like the arena symbol being similar to the monk emblem, which I don't have that in reach either.
It's the thing. I have to find it now, so I show you.
Yeah. Okay. Give you turn it. All right, guys. Well, oh yeah, and I forgot. I got to shout out Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Check out his stuff on YouTube. Carl Casey at White Bat Audio for the music. All right, are we ready for Against the Ogre Horde?
Yes.
All right, good discussion, guys. I think I will just create a little break in the stream here so that we can get our bearings.
Yes, zoom in this picture that I just sent, and you'll see the pattern on the tile.
Aha, yes. Very nice. Okay, we'll be right back.